What's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
Money longer, shout out bros, and keep my eyes in the sky, cause that's where I'm moving. Say they wanna read my mind.
Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. That is the projected starting lineup for the Boston Celtics. Now that is scary. Boston, along with one other team in the NBA, are legit the only teams in the league that does not have any glaring weakness. Seriously, what other team in the league has a starting lineup of 5 ball handlers who are more than capable of initiating offense for themselves and others? Have 4, arguably 5. Nah, I'm reaching with that one. Let's just stick to 4. Yeah, so 4 above average, 2 elite defenders, 5 elite 3-point shooters, and 4 great free throw shooters in their starting lineup. The Boston Celtics have no real weakness. Now, I already know, man, some people viewing this video right now are trying to poke holes into what I just said. And I'm gonna let you know this right now. You can't. You literally can't. One thing that's commonly said about the C's is that they're a poor rebounding team. Yeah, well, they were actually, but that was back in the 2016-17 NBA season. Then they ranked 27th in rebounds per game, I believe. This year though, they saw a dramatic improvement in that category, and they leaped from 27th all the way to number 8 in the NBA in rebounds per game. That major improvement was due to multiple things. As for example, the Aaron Baines signing had something to do with it. Boston getting a taller point guard who can actually grab boards has something to do with it. And having the entire team commit to cleaning the glass has something to do with it as well. All these things are why Boston saw a crazy improvement in just 1 year in that category. But anyways, yeah, I was just trying to point out to you that they have no weakness. Them and Golden State, in my opinion, have the most well-rounded starting lineups in the NBA. But the Celtics though, they are good as is, but will get even better going into the future. Kyrie is in the beginning of his prime at 26 years old, and as each year goes by, he becomes an even deadlier threat and his moves are more perfected. Gordon Hayward is 28 years old, and before that nasty injury, he was a top 5 to 6 small forward in the league because of his well-rounded game. He was defending, playmaking, scoring, and etc. on a high level. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, it ain't no secret. Everybody know that these guys are studs, and they'll be the ones keeping the season afloat 7 to 10 years from now. Both of them are above average defenders. Well, Brown is elite, of course, and he's one of the best defenders in the league, period, because of his switchability, strength, and smarts. And now on to Tatum. Man, he's an underrated defender. Now, he's not on Jaylen Brown's level yet, but he's still reliable. Tatum will be the face of this team really soon, and Brown will be the sidekick to him or Kyrie. Damn, this team is stacked. Oh, and let's not forget one of the most important pieces to this Boston Celtics team, Big Al Horford. Yeah, Al Horford is towards the end of his prime, but he's not a player who relies on quickness and athleticism. He's all skill, and that skill won't fade away from his game until he's like 38, 37, 39. Because, you know, that's the age where players start to get really stiff. Anyways, Al Horford is one of the few players in the league who will age gracefully due to his playstyle. My man can shoot, pass, create his own shot, and defend the 3 to 5 position at a very high level, and even some guards in the league decently as well. Let's not overlook how great the Celtics bench is too. They got Terry the Bucket Rozier, Marcus Smart, the ultimate role player, Marcus Morris, tough, and Aaron Baines, he's tough too, even though he's a human teabag that gets dunked on most nights. This team is for real, and they have the most deadly combination of talent in the league, behind Golden State, of course. But what if I told you that they could get even better next year because of this one asset? Last year, before the NBA draft, we all know that the Celtics were in talks about trading their pick, and that's what they eventually did. Philly exchanged picks with Boston because the 76ers were hell-bent over getting Markelle Fultz, and through draft workouts, they thought that he was their guy for sure. He was seen as the finishing piece to the process. Boston was more than happy with the deal that was in place, because at the time, they didn't need a point guard. Drafting Markelle would have just created a logjam at the guard position, so both teams ended up walking away happy from this deal. But I believe Boston walked away much happier than the 76ers. Not only because they more than likely got the better player out of the two, Fultz and Tatum, but they were also able to potentially take home another first round pick. And that first rounder originally belonged to the Sacramento Kings. Now, to make things simple for you, that pick only belongs to the Philadelphia 76ers. Only if it's the first overall pick. If it ends up being 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth, then the pick goes to Boston. So with that being said, let's shift our focus to the Sacramento Kings. If we take a look at their roster, I think it's more than clear to us that they do not have a garbo enough roster to get a first overall pick. De'Aaron Fox is going into his second year in the NBA, and we should see a lot of improvement from him. And also Bogdan Bogdanovic. Buddy Hield has been getting better too, and also do not forget that the Kings are now getting back Harry Giles. He's a guy who still could be lethal, even though he's already had hella serious injuries early in his basketball career. I didn't even mention their second overall pick too, Marvin Bagley. I seriously cannot see the Sacramento Kings being the worst team in the league with that roster. The title of the worst in the league next year should belong to teams like the Atlanta Hawks, the Orlando Magic, and maybe even the Brooklyn Nets. Don't get me wrong, the Kings are bad, alright? But I just don't think they're bad as the other teams that I just listed. But with that being said, if the Kings do end up being cheeks and land the first overall pick, then this entire video would be completely irrelevant. But if they don't land the first overall pick, or I should say if Philly doesn't take the first overall pick, Boston will be gaining a huge asset, and they would be adding another top talent to their already stacked roster. Well, who knows, maybe the C's actually need this pick, because I'm sure we've all heard the rumors already about Kyrie possibly leaving Boston to go create his own little team near his own town in Brooklyn or New York. So if Kyrie walks in free agency, the Celtics would have that asset to fall back on, and they could of course either trade it away or keep it and select one of these studs out of the 2019 NBA draft. RJ Barrett, Cameron Reddish, Nazir Little, and Zion Williamson are the top prospects as of now for next year's draft. Celtics have a high chance of landing one of those guys. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, if they do end up with Zion, RJ, Cameron Reddish, Nazir Little, or anyone else, I think the Celtics would be just as good as the Warriors in just a year or two, if they end up keeping Kyrie, of course. But even without him, they'd still be great, and either the closest or second or third closest team in the league to having what it takes to beat the Warriors. They'd still have the star power, coaching, and versatility to get the job done. But if they do end up re-signing Kyrie throughout this whole process while getting one of those picks, it's gonna be a wrap for the Warriors real soon. If you give the C's Barrett, it's a GG. If you give the C's Zion, it's a GG. If you give the C's Reddish, it's a GG. And the same goes for any of the other top prospects. Boston is set now, but with this pick, they'll be more than set going into the future. And they would have the brightest future in the NBA. It wouldn't even be up for debate anymore. They have three players who are in their prime, playing at an extremely high level right now. A brilliant head coach, arguably the second best coach in the NBA, and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, plus whoever they select with that Sacramento pick. You guys realize that Tatum is a franchise type player, and Brown is a cornerstone to that franchise player. And whoever they select with that Sacramento Kings pick could potentially be a franchise type player as well, or hopefully at very least an all-star. I just remembered that they could potentially have 2 more picks in the NBA draft next year, and those 2 picks belong to the Memphis Grizzlies and Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if you're a regular on my channel, you noticed that in my last video I said both of these teams have a shot at making the playoffs this year, and towards the end of the vid I said that Memphis was more than likely gonna make the playoffs rather than all the other teams, including the Los Angeles Clippers, simply because Memphis has more star talent, Conley and Gasol. With that being said, I really wouldn't expect the Grizzlies to miss out on the playoffs this year, assuming Mike Conley and Marc Gasol stay healthy. I believe the Clips are more than likely going to be the ones to miss out on the postseason. But if everything goes Boston's way, which could happen, and if Memphis misses the playoffs due to some type of injury, God forbid that happen, because I hate seeing injuries because they hinder how the season is supposed to play along. Anyways, if something happens to them and the Clippers miss out on the postseason too, that would then mean that they would get to have Memphis's pick if it goes anywhere from 9 and up in the NBA draft. Whoa, wait, the Clippers would actually have to make the playoffs. So if Memphis gets the 9th draft pick and up, and if the Clippers make the playoffs, I guess, and get a pick landing anywhere from 15 and up, that means Boston could potentially have 2 lottery picks and 1 high to mid pick as well. And of course their own first round pick too. That's 2 top prospects potentially added to their already great roster. That right there is huge. That is the secret weapon that almost nobody sheds any light on for some reason. Zion Williamson, Cameron Reddish, RJ Barrett, Romeo Langford, Nazir Little, Sekou Doumbia, and etc. could be a Celtic next year. What a weapon. This is the end of the video, man. Let me know what you guys think. How deadly these picks could potentially be. And do you think it's realistic for them to secure Sacramento's pick, the Grizzlies pick, and the Clippers pick all in 1 year next year? Let me know. Before I end the video off, man, I just want to let you guys know that These shirts, y'all sleeping on them. It's still up on the site. Go ahead and cop one if you can. Bro, look at me. Look at me. You can't lie. This thing look clean on my body. If you don't feel like copping one still, I don't have any hard feeling towards you. I still got love for you. But if you do cop one, let me know, and I really appreciate you. The video's been over now, and I'm still talking to the camera. Why? I don't know. I'll get right with you.
No way, no way. Remember back when I couldn't get a play. No home, I ain't have a place to stay. I got to work, made the shirt free to way. Told my girl who'd ever